What's up, everybody? I'm still alive, believe it or not. So, the reason I've been off YouTube for so long, it's been over a month now since I made a video, is because we've been absolutely cranking on the website trying to get it ready for Cold War and trying to get it built for a login system. So, we're probably 1 or 2 days from completing that finally, which is really exciting. But yeah, that's why I've been off YouTube, because the website's kind of the backbone of everything that I do. So, I really wanted to get it updated and have all the Cold War information and get it ready for the Cold War integration into Warzone. We were trying to get it finished by integration, but we were a little too slow for that. But yeah, that's why I've been off YouTube. But so today I'm going to talk about the website a little bit. I'm going to go through some of the new stuff that's going to be on the website to start the video, and then I'm going to cover the M16 and how it performs in Warzone, because the reason I chose the M16 for the first gun that I'm going to cover is just because I was really hoping the M16 was going to be good. I've been playing Call of Duty for years and years and years, and I loved the M16 back in COD 4, just like I think everybody did. And I was really hoping it was going to be good in Warzone, so I wanted to check it out first. I think this is going to be the start of like a series of this, where I'm going to cover, potentially, depending on what ends up happening, I might cover every single weapon that's been integrated into Warzone and the stats. And then as I'm gathering the stats, I will also put those on the website at the same time. So like daily, I might get a video out covering the base stats of a weapon, a Cold War weapon in Warzone, and then at the same time I'll get the stats on the website, so you guys can actually go play with it and mess with builds yourself at the same time that I'm putting the videos out. So yeah, today I'm going to just talk about the M16, and then in the future, let me know in the comments what guns you want to see the most, what you think feels the best in the game, because I want to cover like the best guns first. But to be honest, I have hardly played Cold War, so I don't know much about it. I've been spending all my time programming, and I think I'm only like level 25 or 30 in Cold War, so I've probably only played it like 5 hours, so I don't have much experience with the guns. So let me know what guns you think I should be testing in the comments, and I will kind of start knocking them out one by one and getting them on the website. Alright, let's jump into it. Alright, so like I said, we're probably a couple days from launching the new version of the website. So this was a big rework from the ground up to allow for a login system. So the whole point of the login system is to allow you to save your loadouts and share your loadouts with friends, and also it's going to pave the way for us to be able to have premium features in the future. So right now, everything that's on the site is going to stay free, but we might add some advanced features down the line that you'll actually have to, have a subscription for or whatever. And that's just because I want to do this full time, and I need the support from the community to be able to do that. But anyway, I just wanted to go through this website a little bit real fast so you guys can see the difference. So I'll start with Warzone. Right now, the background for Warzone is the same as Modern Warfare. Like I said, we're still working on the site, but for now, it's the same. We'll have that changed eventually, but so it looks pretty much the same as it did before. I've added loadout suggestions to the website, so now you can do loadout suggestions if you're. This is mostly for new players and people who aren't like super data nerds. You can select what mode you're playing in Warzone, and then you can select the build you want to see, and there'll be information on the build. So that's going to be helpful. And right now I just have a few builds in there, but as time goes on, I'll add more. And there'll be a link from this page to the actual stat analysis page, so you can compare my suggested loadouts to other guns if you want to. You'll be able to add customized guns from True Game Data on there and compare the stats. But going back to the comparison tool, so on this page, nothing's really different. Guns are still just drop down. The one thing that is different is with the rework of the website, it allowed us to have access to the damage profiles a little bit better. So now on this page, you can do a drop down to select a different damage profile if there's an attachment that modifies it. So the RAM doesn't have that. So if I go to like the M4 has 2 ammunition attachments that actually change the damage profile. So now you can select the different magazines and see the different damage profiles and the different base stats for how the magazines change that. So let's just do default for now and go to the next step. So this is the new weapon creation page. We don't have two different versions anymore. We used to have what we called the quick tool and the full tool. Now we're just going to have one tool. So it's basically the quick tool with added hover features. So now when you're selecting attachments, when you hover, you can see what it changes and how it modifies the stats, which is pretty nice. It really speeds up the process. So you can add your attachments just like before. add them all in here. And like I said, there might be some bugs in here. We're still programming. We still probably need a couple days to launch this, but we're getting really, really close. And then down below, we added this summary stats page to make it easier to share your build with other people. So we have the image of the gun now. We have the attachments that you've put on the gun. And there's a new DPS plot as well as a stat summary showing exactly how the attachments change all the base stats of the weapon. So with this build that I just threw together randomly here, ADS goes from 233 to 347 and et cetera, et cetera. It shows all the stats of how things are changed, which is pretty nice. This is going to be a really shareable page for people to share their loadouts with their friends or whoever. So the final page, we've added the ability to include sprint to fire time. This is something that people have been asking for a while. So everything's the same here. You can select all the different health values, add sprint to fire time, open bolt delay or not. One thing we did add was in the chart now to make it a little more shareable, a little more easy to read. The attachments are back in the legend of the chart. So the M4A1, it shows it has compensator, Corvus, 5 milliwatt, 60 round mag, and range of foregrip. So that's a nice little addition there. So when you're sharing your TTK charts, you can now see what attachments are on the guns right in the plot itself. I think the other pages are pretty much the same. We added this at the top now, so you can see all your attachments above the table. This all needs to be styled still a little bit, but I just wanted to show the functionality today. Base stats again is the same as it was before, except it has the drop downs for damage profiles. And all of this is basically exactly the same as Cold War. So the Cold War side of the site, to get to that, all you would do is click the game selection, or it'll take you back to this home page. This is what you're going to come to when you first launch the website now. So you can select whichever game you're playing, Modern Warfare, Warzone, or Cold War. So if we select Cold War, get a different background image, you can launch the comparison tool, and everything's pretty much the same here. The site is pretty modular in that it can adjust how it functions for the two different games. So something that's different about Cold War is the only thing that modifies damage in Cold War is different barrels. So the new version of the website can also account for that, same as it could account for that with ammunition in the other game. So again, this is the same page. You get the gun image, you can see how the stats are modified, and you get the DPS plot automatically there and the summary stats. And then again, the final page is the same. So yeah, that's basically what the new website's going to have. Also, you see there's a login system. Again, that's going to launch with this update as well. So you'll be able to log in, save your custom loadouts, and then you'll have the ability to share them as well. So anyway, I just wanted to give a rundown of the website and what we've been working on so hard. It doesn't look like we changed that much, but like I said, this was a complete rework of the website, like from the back end up. Data has been reworked. The programs itself, the programming itself has been completely reworked to allow for a login system and premium features down the line. So that's why it's taken us so long to get this out. But I'm super excited to launch, and updates should be a lot faster from here out. Alright, so as most of you guys have probably heard at this point, these stats that are in the Cold War guns inside Warzone are completely 100% different than what was in Cold War. So it's going to take some time to get all the guns into the game, but it is still possible, and I'm still going to gather all the data for everything just like I had before. I'm used to the grind, to be honest, so it shouldn't be that bad. So starting with the M16 today, like I talked about, I already have the damage profile for it. It's an easy one actually, because it is just like the FR556 in that it doesn't ever have a damage drop off in Warzone. So it doesn't matter if you're 1,000 meters away or 1 meter away, it does the same amount of damage per bullet. You'll notice it does the same to chest, stomach, and extremities, and that's basically exactly the same as the FR556. So the actual damage values are the same except for the head. The head does a little bit more damage. So the fire rate for the M16 is 436 on average. Now the TTKs on my website actually take into account the burst, so it actually has individual shot timings calculated in there. So when we look at the TTK charts, it's not going to be basing that off of the average RPM here. It's going to be basing that off of the burst timings of the 3 bullets, and then the burst delay between the two bursts, and it accounts for all of that in the actual TTK charts. So fire rate, the average fire rate's only used for the average DPS calculated on the charts. So when you're looking at burst guns on my website, I wouldn't use DPS charts. I'd use TTK charts, because the DPS is correct for an average DPS, but the actual DPS spikes up and down because of the fire rate changing during the burst and with the burst delay. So looking at the rest of the base stats, the ADS is basically identical to the FR556, 4 milliseconds, unnoticeable difference. Movement speed's a little bit faster on the M16, reload time's a little bit slower on the M16. It has the same tactical sprint to fire and sprint to fire as the other ARs do in Modern Warfare, which is different than Cold War. Has the same hip fire as the other assault rifles do in Modern Warfare. Of course, it doesn't have an open bolt delay, same mag size as the FR, and the bullet velocity is a little bit different than Cold War, but it's kind of in between where it is in Cold War and where it is in Modern Warfare. So 615 milliseconds is slower than the other ARs in Modern Warfare, but it's not like a crazy amount slower, and it should be able to be modified with attachments to get that a little faster. ADS movement speed is faster with the M16. But let's jump over and look at the TTK chart. So because this gun is a burst gun, like I said, it has a kind of unique properties. It doesn't use the RPM to calculate TTK. It actually uses the shots to kill and then the individual bullet sum timings. So looking at this chart, the M16 looks pretty bad. It is very slow up close to kill, slower than the FR556. And if I add in, I'm going to add in like a meta kilo here. So it's not going to be, I'm not going to do the full build, but just the things that affect damage range. So monolithic suppressor and the prowler barrel. Switch it back to 250 plates for Warzone and look at chest shots. So yeah, the kilo kills way faster, all the way out to 89 or 87 meters. So yeah, the M16 is not looking like it's going to be too good, which is unfortunate. I was really hoping it would be, because I love burst guns. I always have. All the Battlefield games I used burst guns, used single shot guns, but for some reason they just don't want those to be viable in Warzone, and I don't really know why that is. But yeah, that's how it's worked out. The M16 is just not very good. We'll go look at the recoil and stuff to compare that to the FR556, but just looking at TTK, it's not coming out so good. Alright, so taking a quick look at the recoil of the M16 compared to the gun that we all know and love, the FR556, just to compare. Obviously, if TTK is decent and the gun is highly accurate, then it could be a very good dominant gun at long range. Just take a look at the kilo. I mean, the kilo's TTK at range is not very good, but it's just ridiculously accurate, which is why it's so good right now. But anyway, let's jump into it. I'm going to fire 3 patterns. And then 3 more with the FR. And then we can come up here and compare. So M16 looks like it has less vertical recoil. And maybe slightly more consistent recoil. I mean, this middle one's kind of weird. The other two basically went up. And this is with no attachments. I don't have everything unlocked yet. But I can tell you the M16 feels decently accurate. It's going to be hard to use on console, because you have to correct for the recoil even at like mid-range. Like you can't just shoot it and not correct for the recoil in the middle of the burst. You need to actually drag your mouse down a little bit as you're shooting it to pull off those little shots, those little bursts. But it is a little bit better in terms of recoil than the FR556, but still not great. It's still a burst gun. Burst guns are kind of hard to correct for recoil if they have a lot. But yeah, I would say the recoil overall, I have played a little bit with this at this point, and I do have most of the things unlocked for it, so overall it does feel more accurate than the FR, but still not crazy accurate. So something else I wanted to talk about real quick. I haven't tested all the weapons, obviously. It's going to take me a long time to test all of these in Warzone. But for now, at least on the M16, these barrels, I guess they just have 1 barrel now. I know this last one also increases damage, but the strike team in Cold War increases your damage a little bit. And right now in Warzone, they don't do anything. I don't know if that's a bug. I don't know if it's a missed data point. It could be, since launching 31 guns at once into a game would be incredibly difficult. But right now, the damage increasing barrel, at least on the M16, I'm assuming it's this way across the board, but on the M16 does not increase your damage, so that doesn't make the M16 viable in any way, just because it increases its damage, because it doesn't actually increase its damage. And then I also checked the fire rate attachments, so rapid fire, strike team, and titanium. They all do increase the fire rate, but even with the increased fire rate, it's a small change in TTK. It's like 5 or 10% faster TTK, so it's still slower than the FR556, even with these attachments, which is not good. I was hoping the M16 was going to be a pretty fun gun to run in Warzone, and it's looking like it's not going to be that way. Again, I don't have everything unlocked. I haven't used it very much, so I'm not going to give suggested builds or anything. I'm just going to present the base data that I've found, and you guys can do whatever you want with that information. But I just wanted to cover everything, and I'm going to start doing this for all the weapons one at a time, and hopefully help you guys build some pretty good guns in Warzone. Alright everybody, well, thank you for watching. Sorry I took such a long break from YouTube. Like I said, it really was because I was working really hard on the website. Me and Christina, she's the front-end developer. We've both been working super hard on this, so hopefully the launch goes well for us here in the next day or two, and look forward to getting feedback from you guys on the new website. But back to the topic of Cold War integration. I haven't tested the attachments yet. I don't even have all the attachments unlocked because, like I said, I've hardly played Cold War. I've just been grinding on programming and getting the website ready for all of this stuff to happen. So it might take me a little while to get all that done because I have to level the weapons and then do all the testing. So that's quite a bit of work. But I'm going to get it done as fast as I can. I'm going to try to start making a video, I don't know, every day or every other day on these Cold War weapons in Warzone, and try to get all the information out to you. So I appreciate you guys all watching, and looking forward to actually getting to play some Warzone here pretty soon with all these new weapons. So good luck. Happy Warzoning.